Hey Nick, good to see you back.
What's up, Dave? Good to
How's
see
it
you
been?
too.
Based on our previous conversation, we were working on a custom report that pulls data with custom labels, very specific to the way you like to present data to your clients and how you like to look at your reports. So just like walk me through again with like a screen share, like what you've done before, what that process looked like, and how long it took you.
Yeah, so basically, I have this sheet where I'm uploading daily numbers, cost, purchases, revenue, new purchases. So I would go into Google, download all of the data, and manually input this on a daily basis. So first, what I do is I grab the Excel. I have to first look at all the conversions. So I do day, I do conversion action up top there. I do label. I got to make sure this is ungrouped because this is so I have all the days here, last 7 days. And then this particular one is only conversions. So what I do here is first all conversions by conversion value, all conversions by conversion time. So I grab this column, copy, paste it into the document. I grab this, copy, paste it into the document, and grab this, copy, paste it into the document. So after I do that, then I go here and I copy, paste, I switch to new customer and then I copy paste this into the doc. So that is the first step. The problem is when you go into Google and you pull here and you say conversion action, you are no longer allowed to get cost metrics. If you use this segment, conversion action, Google will not let you pull cost metrics. So because of that, I now have to do a separate download here by day just to get cost and clicks. So I'm going to do that now. And then it's going to download. I'm going to do the same thing where I do a pivot table and then I'm going to copy and paste the cost metrics into here. It's improved with time on the speed of that, but that's just one client. And I'll have to do that across multiple clients.
And then I think you told me that you go back and you backfill previous data as well because it tends to change,
Yep.
right? How far back do you
Yeah.
go?
So I pulled last seven. I'll usually go back last 7 days. And so in this case, it's the first day of the month. So I only grabbed the first day. I already went and backfilled the rest of the days yesterday to close out the month.
Gotcha. Okay. And then obviously if like, you go back 30 days if you could, that would be more useful than
Yeah,
doing
for
just
sure. Well, I guess tell me how you kind of built this workflow.
there's three main parts. Evaluations I don't really use. This is like for really advanced workflows where you want to, give it test data and make sure like that it goes through quality checks. Like we're not doing anything super crazy. Execution just gives you history of like whenever the workflow triggered on its own. And then editors where you like just build things out real time. So I went to executions and I'm going on the latest execution that worked the way it was supposed to. Here, there's errors and you probably debug that later, but this shows the flow of data and like what is moving where. So if we go to the very beginning, we have a schedule triggered node because we want this to run once a day. I have it set at 4 a.m. because that's when the server is least active, like there's least amount of things happening. So there should be best chance of it like the server not being an issue. Because if you hit it at a time where it's like peak hours and you're making a lot of requests, it might just tell you that, hey, there's a server timeout or, like it failed because we just have too much traffic. I've had that happen before and just keeping it in like the midnight times typically helps prevent that. So what we're doing next is we're doing a month sheet name. This is just to make sure it knows like which month we're on because it would be so the way like you made the request is every month will be separate. We don't want to have one big list of like a year of data. We want it to be segmented by the label type and by the month. Is that correct? Okay. So yeah, so that's what that's doing. So the previous node, which was just the trigger, it already sent data on just the time that it was triggered. So I'm basically what this code is doing is it's pulling that in and it's creating the items, the fields that I need to use in the later nodes. So, and the way I made this code is I just, used Claude and had it help me like basically write out like what I'm trying to get out of it. So here it has the base sheet name and then the brand in the non-brand and YouTube. So this is just like already set. That way in later nodes, I could just basically access that. So after that's done, it's going to check if it's the first of the month. If it is, then there's like another process involved because now we need to make another sheet within the Google Sheets to create like September. So I think in this case, it was triggered on the 31st. So the first month. So this is just checking if it's the first month. And here, because 31st is not, so it's false. So it goes in the false branch. And then if it goes in the true branch, then, it's a whole different workflow. But here, what we're doing is, because you said we need to add in new data every single time, I'm first clearing the sheets. So there's we go back to the editor, there's like multiple different nodes you could do, but you just do right click and add node. So there's two main ones, I would say. One is HTTP request. So that's these like ones that look like the internet. And then the other ones are just pre-built. So Google Sheets has a lot of pre-built ones. For this one, I just click clear sheet. And as long as your credentials are set up, it's really easy to like choose what document, what sheet to clear. So that's how I did that. And then if I go back to the execution, so I'm clearing all the sheets because we want to add in new data that's, up to date. So after this, they should be completely blank. Now I get into the more complex stuff where I'm starting to pull the Google Ads data. So we have a credential that we set up, which was like, a whole process. And then we have a specific URL we need to use to pull data from. And then it's a post method because we're going to be sending something in, like we're making a query into the Google Ads account. And then a couple things. So this is just like formatting, a best practice. This is the developer code from the manager account. This is the manager account ID. And then here is the ID from the customer account. So this is just the query that we're using. I believe this one just gets basic data like clicks, cost, impressions, and it does that for like all the campaigns in the account. But yeah, the key thing is we're pulling everything we need to eventually join the data the right way. Each one of these are the same. It's just I'm pulling different things. When you do that post method node, it brings back one item and you want to parse it out into the individual items and like basically organize the data. Because if you try to do anything with this, it's going to give you errors because it only, like right now, the code only see one item the way it's structured. So this parse node, it just basically like splits it out. And I also here, as you can see, I'm creating a mapper for the custom labels. That way, like when I look at it, it's easier for me to understand like what it matches to. So that's what each one of these is doing. And again, the way I created those is I'm not a programmer. I just went to the output. I copy this, put it into Claude, told it, hey, help me parse this. I'm in n8n, help me parse this for, data manipulation. So that's what each one of these are doing. As you can see, there's a slight discrepancy. There's 93 here, 90 here, 89 here. So that's something we're going to have to, well, actually that makes sense because there's some campaigns that just might not have conversions. And there's definitely the brand campaign that doesn't pull any new customer conversions. So this makes sense to me. Then we have the merge nodes that are basically matching the data from the different sources. So I'm doing a combine node because I want to, bring them together, and I'm matching them by fields. And then I'm telling them what fields to match by. So if you look here in the input, these are the two nodes coming in. Intentionally made sure that the date and the label type are in the same format. That way it's easy for me to just say, hey, if the date and label type is the same, then you just like put all those different fields together, like, just combine them. So that's what that's doing. Even though there's 90 items here, 89 items here, it ends up being 90 items just because like the last one, it just, kind of comes in on its own. For the output type, I put keep everything. And then I'm doing that one more time. So yeah, same exact thing. Now we're just merging that previous merge with the remaining code. So now we have everything we need and we're ready to push it to Google Sheets. So this switch node basically just checks to see like what that JSON label type is. And it basically like branches it out based on where it needs to go. So, we have brand, non-brand, YouTube. So pretty straightforward. And then We have another code node because the summary on the bottom here, that's being generated by the code. So without it, we would just see that. But this is basically like every time the automation runs, it deletes everything and puts in like the new data. So here we're just basically pushing through everything before, but just adding the few fields that are the totals. So it needs to average certain numbers and then needs to sum up certain numbers. So just doing that in this code. So that's what each one of these does. And then edit fields. The only thing that isn't the way I want it to is the names. So that's what this is doing. So it's just, for ROAS, that's the same. AOV is the same. A revenue, right? Like that was total all conversions value. So if I left that the same, like that would be the name that would show up in Google Sheets. And that's like, I wanted to make it the same exact format you had before. So that's what this is doing. And then, yeah, the final node is just adding all that in. So there's two ways you could write data into Google Sheets. One is the map automatically. And what map automatically does is it will literally pull the exact field names that you have and put them in the columns. Or you could map, you could also map manually. So when you map manually, that's when you could do the edit fields node. So really the ending here is just preference. Like that's what I wanted to do, but I also could have done Google Sheets. All right, so there's update row. Let me just kind of select some things. So yeah, you could have also done this, and that's where you could have like maybe create. No, I think it's update. All right, so here's where you could have like done that same mapping that I did in the set nodes. I just wanted to separate it just because. But here you would like let me see, bring it to the front. So right now it doesn't show anything in input. Once I do this, now it has inputs to work with. So you literally like just kind of drag it in. And if it's green, it shows that it's, kind of, it's pulling it and it's working. Like if I had something like this, it would be red undefined. So that's how you know that, the data is flowing through correctly. Now that we created the template for what like one account looks like, because we set up the developer token, now we could just roll this out to the rest of your accounts. That kind of wraps up the project. I'm curious, if you were to estimate, how much time would this save you per week?
Across, if we did all my accounts, it'll probably save me a couple hours a week, maybe
Okay.
a little bit more or less. Yeah, obviously, I think that would be a fair estimation. Which is would be great. That's a great plus, and really it's just valuable because it's a first step into kind of automation and learning it, and I think that's really valuable, and it's been a great experience.